All right, I'm back again. I told you I wasn't gonna be that long. This time I wanted to do a comparison showing the differences and similarities between Arturia's Mini V version 3, the Mini D from Air Music Technology. Also wanted to throw in Reactor 6's Monarch and UVI's own uh, version of the Model D synth. So I'm not gonna go over every last detail just for the sake of time, but yeah, I'll kind of just deal with them from top to bottom. So we'll get started. So the Mini D, I got the retro pad loaded up, and again, I've been really impressed with Air Music's, coming up with these plugins and everything is simply laid out. You have your LFOs here. You have your different shapes you can pick, which is very impressive. Your ranges, your syncs. You can do the glide on, legato. You can do it for all. You can adjust the timing. You have the little mod matrix going on with the mod wheel that you can adjust to influence whatever you want to, not whatever you want to, but various parts of the software. So that's cool. You have your three oscillators, just like an actual, Mini D has three oscillators, the Model D from the original Moog. They got their three oscillators in the different waveforms that you can choose from between triangle to sawtooth to square to pulse width. Having three oscillators is going to give you an incredibly thick sound. And then you have the filter that's, inspired by the infamous Moog ladder filter. That's pretty much across the board on all these units. And then you can turn on the analog. Now again, because these companies are, every company is different making these versions of the Model D, Mini D, they're going to have, some similarities, but some differences here and there. You got your effects on this side, which you can use to adjust the EQ, the chorus, the delay. You can also adjust how much detune you want, how many voices you want. You can go up to 4 voices. Not bad, not great, but not bad. Because you got to remember the original Model D units from Moog were strictly monophonic. So there wasn't any of that chord stuff that you could do on the original units, if I'm not mistaken. It was just a monophonic instrument. Let's go into the sounds. We'll start with some basses. All right, that's puffy. We'll do some retro. Hear the difference when you switch from modern to classic mode. Yep, you hear that filter open up a little bit, which is cool. Let's go over a couple of these. Let's see what we got for motion. Now, the one thing I can't tell you, I don't know if the Air Music Technology plugins, if they're using like modeling technology or if they have some samples that have been ran through here to kind of help capture, some of the main characteristics of that sound. It really doesn't matter. I'm just kind of curious. I haven't read up the manual on it. and I didn't watch a whole bunch of the other videos when this product initially dropped. I will say I like how it sounds. I like how it's been programmed. It sounds pretty good. Does it sound like a real Model D? I don't know. I've never played a real Model D. Played the Behringer version. It is aggressive. Like, you can hear that. Let's turn off the delay. It sounds very interesting. Again, one thing I'll say about the Air Music Technology plugins, they're light on the DSP. So you don't get a lot of polyphony, but they're light on the DSP, which is cool. So I can, you know, put this thing through its paces, if you will, and I'm not going to eat up a whole bunch of resources. I don't have to worry about that, which, you know, is a nice plus. Let's go to this Zan pad. All right, so yeah, I mean, it sounds good. Again, I couldn't tell you how much it sounds like the original Model D. The closest thing I played with was the Behringer, and I've only played with the monophonic version. Me being a chords, keys type person, I will say I appreciate having more than one voice. So I'm grateful for the flexibility in that regard. I'm also grateful that it's not eating up my computer. At the time of this recording, 6/3/23, this plugin is also on sale. It's about 80 bucks. You can get it from Air Music Technology, the website directly. And again, the cool part is you can put this in your MPC. So this is like the additional synth that you can just buy and put into your standalone unit and take with you. Or you can download it onto your laptop and take with you as a VST. So the fact that you have that much flexibility is, you know, it's just a welcome deal. And the fact that you can put it in your MPC, you know, it's like you're customizing that unit, adding more features to it, making it, you know, fit your workflow, whatever that workflow is, which I think is really cool. As I said in the last video, for Kai doing all of this stuff, adding these different plugins, they've not only created a great sampler with the MPC, but it's now also becoming just a great overall workstation synthesizer with all your bread and butter sounds if you purchase them, as well as all of these specialized, you know, vintage sounds that you can get. And again, you can program the sounds on here however you like. So again, that's also a plus. You have essentially a real synth, if you will, at your fingertips in virtual form. All right, moving on, I'm going to the Mini V3 from Arturia. And again, it's going to sound different. As I said in the last video, I think Arturia does a really good job when it comes to modeling the behavior of these, you know, classic instruments. They've really got that down packed. What I'm going to do is resize the window. I'm gonna do it one more time because I don't need it that big. Come on, don't hurt. All right, so I minimized it a little bit. I don't know if that's too much for your screen or too small. In terms of the sonics, again, it's all subjective. I'm gonna put it back on 70. I don't really need to see the keys and all that stuff for right now. So you can adjust the tuning, semitones. You can adjust the glide, the mod mix, oscillator modulator. You got your 3 oscillators to choose from, same as on the other unit from Air Music Technology. Same type of waveforms and different intervals, octaves you can play it at. Sync the oscillators, you can have them not in sync. You can flip the switches, turn the volume up, adjust all that stuff to your preference. You have your infamous ladder filter, but then you have your loudness contour, your detuning. You can turn that on. I apologize if that's too loud. You can do your unison. You can turn on the polyphonic mode if you choose to. Now, again, I would say Arturia's plugin is a little bit more flexible because you go to this advanced unit and then you can do stuff like program your LFO with the arpeggiators. I think Air Music Technology gives you more waveform options with their LFO, but then you got the arpeggiator. The layout is a little bit different, but then you have this motion recorder, something that's not on Air Music's software version, just a little something extra. Then you have your mod matrix. You can set things to different parts of your software. Your effects you can turn on. You have a vocal filter, chorus, delay, all of that stuff. And again, depending on what you're using, like if you're using the MPC software, you have a lot of plugins built in for effects that you can slap on the Air Music version to shape your sound. So what you lack here, you get in the integration space with your MPC unit. Not a big deal. Sheesh. You got more options. You got your pads. Let's pick some pads because I'm a pad person. And as you can see, we got this whole thing moving around. Eat up a whole bunch of resources, comparatively speaking. And the fact that I was able to do that and not have any voices drop off is always a plus. And the pad sounded great. Let's do another one. Broken Memories. Ooh. Let's hit the octave up. It's the presets. The presets sound amazing. But again, that's not to say that the other product won't get you there either. It's just how they've programmed this. Now let's see something else. Let's go here. Play mode, you can adjust low, high, last. I'm going to keep it low because I don't need it to be all fancy schmancy. And again, I can adjust the polyphony all the way up to 32 voices. Again, 32 voices of polyphony. When you're playing these keys, you want to do chords or complex chords, if I want to put my foot on the sustain pedals and have stuff bleed across the frequency spectrum, I can totally do that and be okay as long as my computer can handle it. So, that's the difference between the Arturia version and the Air Music Technology version. Both, in my opinion, kind of will get you that basic characteristic of the Model D. And both are polyphonic. The Air Music version is a lot more, it's just straightforward and straight to the point. Trying to keep it as more closely to the actual unit. The Arturia plugins, they usually add some different features that are not found in the actual units themselves. And again, the programmers, the people that they get to program these patches are what make these sounds. So that sound right there, I could have played that all day. Again, if you could see my expression on camera, you'd be like, this person might be a user. I am not. But I felt something playing those chords because, again, in my head, I can see that going into elements of a song and how that song will go. So yeah, man, you know, that's the Arturia Mini V. Now here I got a reactor. I'm gonna pull that up. And the reactor Monark is an interesting plugin because it's part of the reactor package. And so what's cool is everything that you're hearing here is being generated from the reactor and the DSP engine that's in this reactor. Everything is monophonic, and if I'm not mistaken, this is all modeled. There's no samples running through this. But again, reactor from Native Instruments is very powerful. Now, the difference between this one and the other plugins is like you kind of get what you got. You got side A and then side B. So you can adjust like the keyboard, priority, envelope, re-trigger, notes, on, off, pitch, bend. You can adjust the curves. You can adjust some things on the mod wheels, the oscillators, the filters. So you could do a little bit of that. Change the drift mode, if you will. Setting 1, 2, or 3. Going back here, because I don't want to mess with too much. Everything, for the most part, here is just laid out in front of you. And I mean, this definitely has like the characteristic of like a Moog in terms of like that, I don't know, just that sharpness of the sound. In my opinion, this sounds very Moogish. Gosh, that's super loud. Again, I got headphones directly into my unit without the ability to adjust. That's Clume. Arp, please. No arpeggiation running through this. You have to kind of program it yourself. Other thing about this particular unit, I mean, this is VST only. I'm not sure if you can take Reactor and have it be run through like the Machine and the Machine Plus units. I don't think I've heard that one before. Maybe on the software side for like the MK3s, but not the Machine Plus units. But you know, with this one, sound wise and control wise, you're probably going to have everything more closely, fitting the sonics of the actual original units and the behavior, because you got to remember the old school Model Ds did not have all that extra polyphony, which that's not quite the lead, but it's very close. If I did some adjustments on the these right here and kept everything a little bit higher up. Close enough. It's not the exact setting, but yeah, this thing is aggressive. It's monophonic, it's aggressive. You can use it as a VST, but you got to take advantage of like the Native Instruments ecosystem. So if you wanted Monark specifically, you would have to buy Reactor and then buy Monark. Or you could take advantage of the summer sale from Native Instruments that's on right now, and you could have this in your collection of VST plugins. And yeah, if we're talking about price point in that regards, Native Instruments is still a beast in its own right when it comes to making software. So yeah, man, they're not disappointing. I'm gonna get off of that one because I get bored playing monophonic instruments, and I don't want to start running stuff through effects and plugins and whatnot because I just want to do a straightforward comparison. Lastly, here I am using UVI Workstation's version of like their Ultra Mini. So I got it pulled up here, and now I will say with the UVI Workstation, their stuff is all samples. And in my opinion, this is good and bad. Wrong one, buddy. Let's go back down here. I'm not going to go through every feature at this point. I'm just going to get to playing. So you got your effects that you can use. And again, if you're using UVI Workstations, any of their products, you have a lot of options to work with because they have their own ecosystem when it comes to effects that you can pick. As you can see here, I got different delays, reverbs, modulators, and all that stuff that I can add to. I'm not going to, but just to let you know, it's there. So you really have the ability to shape your sound. Let's go out of that. I don't want to mess with that. You got an arpeggiator, simple one. Different modes, up, down, zigzag, spiral. So again, a lot of flexibility here. Repeat keys if I want to, repeat pattern, legato, song position. You could change the speed and the intervals at which these notes transition from one to another. It's a lot going on here. And you can adjust the velocity of each of the keys. You can enable bypass. You can pick presets. So UVI, again, UVI is a beast in its own right when it comes to different products. And in the music technology space, they don't get a lot of credit, in my opinion. Now, I will say one thing about them that's both good and bad is that their products are sample based. So someone has sampled the original hardware units, and they may have had everything done to them from the whole process and the sound being colored through different aspects of equipment in order to capture that sound. Sometimes presets are made with those waveforms that they have sampled from the units. So it can eat up a fair amount of memory because you're dealing with samples, and most of the time with sample-based instruments, you'll have multi-samples and multi-layers, and sometimes you could have, depending on the instrument, tens or hundreds or maybe even thousands of samples to kind of capture the feel of that instrument. Let's see about picking a preset. Now, this is the downside because I got to work with the key groups. I'm going to turn this down because I don't want it to get super loud. I'll bring that back up. Bring it back. Let's bring this up. And I'm going to go to a different preset. Now again, because I'm using the UVI sampler system that this comes with when you buy any product from UVI, it's going to be integrated with the UVI workstation as standard, or you can integrate it with Falcon. I do not have Falcon yet. I might not ever get Falcon, but you can integrate their products with Falcon or just use their standard stuff. And you're going to get a different, experience. Now, I don't hear the same aggressive patches, but that's also because I'm not playing anything aggressive. Let's go to the arpeggiator. I want to turn it off. Going back to edit. All right, let's get off of that. I ain't trying to get no copyright strikes. But okay, not bad. Let's go here. All right, so how they break up everything on the screen is a little bit different. And it's necessary. I can understand why they do it like that. So you go to this screen, you have your oscillators. You can make the adjustments here, customize your sound, adjust your noises and so forth. You can go here to the envelopes, mess with the filter, determine if you want your sound to be polyphonic or monophonic. Again, you have your filter and amplitude envelope. Then you have your effects, stereo, phaser, bit crusher, spark verb, which is cool because the Model D did not have a spark verb. Then you have your ARP, that's here, step sequencer, and your LFO. And again, as I said earlier, you can go here and add more effects if you choose to. Stay in the edit mode. Go back to the oscillator section. Let's see what we have for, let's do these pads. Turn it up a little bit. Go to Civil Rapper. All right. I'll do a couple more presets. All right, I'm gonna stop playing. You kind of get the point. Let's do plucked. Brass octave. Wait, analog bells. The band pass stepper. It's a plucked instrument. Yeah. I'm gonna wrap this up. Yeah, I like all of them, and I like them all for different reasons. Um, I like the integration with UVI's workstation that this product has with it. And if you had something like the Falcon to go with this, then you could take these instruments and take them to totally different places just because, you know, that's how UVI has done their stuff. I will say the UVI version does not have the same, I don't know, it didn't have the same bite in it. And I found that that was okay. I also appreciate the fact that, you know, running it through those different effects just created an entirely different feel for the sounds altogether. And then again, for flexibility, you know, between having this available to be ran through the UVI Falcon, or if you have their UVI collection of synths, you can take this and layer it with other synths and whatnot. And the cool thing about this is they actually did sample a real unit. So even, you know, even though, you know, it's not emulated, the samples that run these machines or these VSTs from UVI workstations, they are actually samples that are derived from the actual units. So in that respect, you actually have a piece of that, you know, unit, you know, in your VST because real samples are running it. In terms of overall sound quality, I don't think one is worse than the other. Again, with the UVI workstation, you can buy the instruments that you want separately, and you can just download the UVI workstation and it'll run it for free. Or you can get their collection of products and go be great with that, and they sound amazing. You know, if you're trying to make patches and all that stuff with this one, I will say they got some stuff being, you know, that kind of inhibit you from doing that because everything is based on samples, and in particular the samples and the presets and all that stuff. And it's just in their EULA. I hope they change it at some point that, you know, you can't really use their stuff to be trying to make sample packs and sample libraries, which is one of the disappointing things about this product when I got it. Outside of that, you know, for music composition, making your own songs and all that stuff, I think this thing sounds great. It doesn't have the same type of tone compared to the other units. Doesn't mean that you can't program it to get it there. And the fact that you have the envelopes and the effects and the step LFOs and all that stuff, you can really do some cool stuff with the arpeggiator that you can't do with the other units per se. So I think that's cool. The Monark, it's just straightforward. Reactor 6's Monark, it's just very straightforward. It's monophonic and it's very aggressive. I think it does a great job of capturing the feel of like the Moog instruments. And again, I haven't played the actual Model D. I have played a Voyager, and playing the Reactor 6 reminded me of playing a Voyager when it came to the texture of the sounds and like the abrasive tone that you can get with it. The Monarch reminded me of playing a Voyager, and that's because I can say I played a Voyager. And it's straightforward, so you don't get the polyphony, you don't get all that stuff, but you know, you can color the sounds. Again, you're using a DAW, or you can run it out through a mixer or run it out through an amplifier and send it back in and do whatever you need to. You can kind of color those sounds however you want to. I think overall price points, you know, the Mini D does not disappoint. If you buy it, and again, you're buying it for your MPC, you're going to be content with the Mini D. It's going to sound great. It's going to be stable. It's going to be that just right fit. It's like the Goldilocks syndrome. It's just right. Not too much on this end, not too much on that end, but it's just right. And you know, you're buying it, I'm assuming, with your MPC keys or for your MPC, you know, 1 or X unit, whatever you got, you're not going to be disappointed. Because again, you have all of those plugins inside. I like the Arturia Mini V. I like the presets that are built in. The presets sound amazing. Yeah, the presets are dope. You're going to hear me say presets, presets, presets. The presets are dope. So you're not, you know, if you get the Arturia, it takes the Mini D and takes it in different directions that the actual unit can't go in, just due to having the polyphony that you have. And it's modeled. It's not sample based. So you can program it however you want to. If you want to make your sample packs out of it, like a lot of people do, you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff because everything is modeled, where you don't have to worry about intellectual property infringement the same way. You know, that's all the legalities and stuff that people don't want to hear about, but it is what it is. So yeah, man, the Mini V3 from Arturia, I find it to be the most flexible, and them patches, they just sound great. And it sounds convincing enough. I think the Reactor 6 version Monark is very aggressive, and no extra features, just bare bones. It's aggressive, and yeah, I think it captures it definitely captures a Voyager. And so yeah, man, you can't go wrong with any of these. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. I'm Tim Keys. I am out. Peace.